Hello, this is George Demaree, and I'm back with more Money Matters. The mission of Money Matters is to help to promote financial literacy, to expose you to financial, business, and employment opportunities, to help you make great strategic financial decisions, and to help you to break free from the slavery of debt. Debt is a form of slavery. But before we go there today, we're going to talk about the importance of voting, because all these decisions that we make as it relates to politics and who we put in office, there's always a dollar sign attached. So I want to give you the information that you need in order for you to be able to go and secure an absentee ballot. Took me literally 10 minutes to get it done. There is no reason that we can't vote because there are a ton of opportunities for you to do it. First of all, go to govotekentucky.com. When you go there, click Absentee Ballot. You will see a list of 6 reasons why you want an absentee ballot, and COVID-19 is a very valid reason. So next you click there, it'll take you to a page that asks for your Social Security number and your date of birth. Fill those out. It will prompt you to a phone number and address. Now, this is very important. It's very important that you check the right address to make sure that they send your ballot to the right folks. The deadline to get in your absentee ballot is October 9th, and the deadline to register to vote is on October 5th. Now, once you get there, then you hit the address button, and then there will be a prompt that comes up that says, "Thank you," and we'll give you confirmation. Again, this year may be one of the most, in my opinion, is the most important vote that we've had to make in my lifetime. Make sure that you get out there, that you cast your ballot. Remember, there are thousands of people who sacrifice their time and many who sacrifice their lives to give you an opportunity to vote. Another thing that's real simple when it comes to voting is that they have a number of locations where you can vote early. You can start voting early as early as Tuesday, October 13th. And these are the places that you can go. You can go to the Kentucky Expo Center. You can go to the KFC Yum Center, the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage, and there are going to be more to be announced. Again, starting on October 13th, they will be open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So please, please get out there to vote. On Election Day, there are certain places that you can go to cast your vote. You can go in the South End, you can go to Valley High School. In the East End, you can go to Ballard High School. In the West End, you can go to Shawnee High School. And in the middle part of Jefferson County, you can go to Thomas Jefferson High School. So I'll say again, Money Matters and voting, they work hand in hand, because the decisions that people make, what legislatures make, have a lot to do with what you can do with your money. Now, today I've asked my audience, what do you really want to know? What is the subject matter that is important to you? And we're going to get into that later on today. Today we're talking about Social Security. I've had a number of our viewers that are interested in, tell me about Social Security, George. How does it work? When should I take Social Security? What makes time? Well, I'm going to give you some information that will help you to make strategic decisions as it relates to Social Security. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about the history of Social Security. It started on August 14th, 1935 by President Roosevelt. And it was a way to help to subsidize folks who were 65 and above. The first time, or the first president that ever tried to touch Social Security, and tried to change how to do it was Ronald Reagan. And now the next president, this president, Donald Trump, is proposing to tap into Social Security dollars again. Let me share with you how things have changed over the year with Social Security. Back in 1945, there were literally 42 people for every person on Social Security. So it was well funded. As of 2010, there's only about 3 people who are funding everybody in Social Security. In order for Social Security to stay sovereign over those years, it takes about 3 people working for every person on Social Security. Now let me tell you how you become eligible. It takes what they call 40 credits. Now, what's a credit? A credit is working, gaining an employment where you're paying into Social Security every quarter. So after every quarter, you gain 1 credit. So in a year's time, you can actually gain 4 credits per year. In order for you to be eligible to receive any Social Security benefits, again, it requires 40 credits, so you have to work for 10 years. But let me tell you how it's calculated. It's calculated over a 35-year period. So what they do at the Social Security office is they take your top 35 years of employment, they put it in a formula, and that's how they give you your total benefit for a lifetime. At 62, it's 75% of your total, 75%, and at age 66, depending on when you were born, is when you can get 100% of your benefit. Now, is 62 a good year for you to take your benefit? It may be, depending on what's going on. Remember this, that if you decide to take your Social Security benefit at age 62, and your date of your full retirement date is 66, again, you only receive 75% of that total. But let me tell you another issue that you have to deal with. If you decide to take it early, you can only make up to $18,240 above the Social Security amount in order for you to not have a penalty for Social Security. Now, what's that mean? That if you're making over $18,200, every $2 that you make above that, Social Security penalizes you $1. It's almost 50% of what you make. So if you're still employed at age 62, a number of times it doesn't make sense to go on Social Security right away. If you decide that you just are not going to work and it's just going to subsidize what you're doing, then maybe 62 is the way to go. Now, that number goes up every month. So when you get to 1 year prior to what they call your date of full funding, then you can make up to $48,000 without penalty, and they only take $1 after every 3 at that point. Now, again, at age 62, you can make 75% of your total retirement account. At age 63, it's 80%. At age 64, it's 86.6%. At age 65, it's 93.3%. And age 66, again, depending on your birth date. If you were born prior to 1954, then your retirement age is 66. If it was 1955, is 66 in 2 months. If your birth date is 1956, then it's 66 in 4 months. So again, it's calculated in 35 years. So what happens if, by chance, you don't work 35 years? What happens if you've only worked 30 years? Well, those 5 years, they give you a zero for those years. And that's what they use to calculate your lifetime benefit. So it's important that you understand how your money's, how they compute how much money you make as it relates to Social Security. Another thing is that there's a limit. The most that you can make, even at your full retirement age, is around $3,000. Just a little under 3,100 bucks. And the most that you can make at 62 is around $2,200. Your benefit is adjusted for inflation every year. It averages about 1 or 2%. Some years it's been as high as 1, 2, 3%. Some years you haven't gotten an adjustment for at all. Again, if you decide that you want to take a benefit before you get to age 66 or your full retirement age, remember you can only make $18,240. If you're still working, you can only you lose $1 for every dollar that you've earned over 18.2. If you can earn 48.6 without a penalty 1 year prior to your full retirement date. For an example, if your full retirement date, like my full retirement date, is age 66 and 4 months, at age 65 and 4 months, you could work and make as much as $48,000 without a penalty. Another issue as it relates to Social Security is longevity. You know, the life expectancy of African American men is the shortest of every ethnicity. The last research that I've done is that the average African American male in this country lives to be 75. So should you take that into account about getting your Social Security income? Absolutely. I believe so. In Kentucky, the life expectancy for black men is even shorter than that. It's about 73 years. I was distressed when I saw that number. So let me tell you what that means as far as longevity is concerned. Let's suppose you decide that your total benefit is $1,000. Your total Social Security benefit is $1,000. But you decide that you want to take it early to age 62. Well, at 75% of that, that's $750. If you decide to wait until age 66, it will take you until age 78 to catch up. That's an issue that I had. I said, do you take it now? It would take me to age 77 for me to catch up if I have not taken my Social Security prior to age 62. What happens if you don't? Well, there's a lot of things that happen. Sometimes, you know, your spouse can get a portion of your Social Security, whether you're here or not. We'll talk about that in a moment. Sometimes your children. Let's talk about taxes as it relates to Social Security income. Are Social Security income taxed? Absolutely it is. If you're a single or head of household and you make $25,000 or less, there's no tax. A single head of household making $25,000 to $34,000, you get taxed up to 50% of your Social Security income. A single household making $35K plus, you get taxed up to 85% of your Social Security income. Married filing that make $32,000 or less, you did no federal income tax on Social Security. Filing, married, if you make $32K to $44K, you could be taxed up to 50%. And married and you make a joint income of over $44,000, you can be taxed as much as 85% of your Social Security income. Is there an opportunity for you to make a lump sum? Absolutely. You can make a 6-month one-time lump sum if you decide that you want to hold off. talk to your Social Security advisors. I made a phone call to mine today, and they can help you as it relates to all information as it relates to what you can do as it relates to lump sums. Let's talk about spousal benefits. Once you hit 62, if your spouse is currently receiving either retirement or disability benefits from Social Security, you can receive benefits as well, up to half of what your spouse received. For an example, if you're receiving Social Security benefits and now your spouse is receiving Social Security benefits, she can get either her total or she can get half of your total, whichever total is the largest. Survival benefits. Survival is a lot different, and it's a lot more attractive, so to speak. If your spouse happens to have passed away, then you have an opportunity to get 100% of their Social Security benefit or yours, depending on which one would be higher. And remember that everybody in Social Security, once they die, they do get a one lump sum check from the federal government for $255. This was interesting to me. If you are divorced and you've been married for 10 years, your ex-wife or ex-husband is eligible for 50% of your Social Security benefit if that ex-wife or ex-husband has not remarried. For an example, if you were married for 10 years and your Social Security benefit 20 years later is $2,000 and your ex-wife or ex-husband never got remarried, then they're eligible for 50% of that money. Now, it doesn't affect your money at all, but it does help them if they have not gotten remarried. Social Security is just a marvelous way of subsidizing your income for retirement, but it shouldn't be the only way. So make good decisions. And let me also share this. I was concerned about leaving my job early at age 62 and how that would affect my Social Security benefit. I thought, well, if I'm not going to make as much money, maybe it will affect my long-term benefit. Not at all. Once the top 35 years are done, the top 35 years are done. Now, let's suppose that later in life, before you take your benefit, you happen to have a very good year. Then what was the lowest year prior to that will come off, and that will come on. But also remember this. It only goes up to folks who make $132,000 a year. So that's why the total benefit cap is right around almost $3,100. So if you happen to be one of those few people who are making a ton of money, you won't make any extra Social Security benefit just because you've made a lot of money. Now, why did we start this out with voting? Who made the decisions as it relates to what's going on with Social Security? Well, those people that you'll be voting for on this coming November, these are the folks who made the decisions on what happens to Social Security. Will Social Security get tapped into? Will you allow Donald Trump, who said that he was going to tap Social Security and then go to the general fund to resupply it? It doesn't happen. Ronald Reagan did the same thing back in 1983. And they talk about the federal deficit. Well, the federal deficit, if you look, grew more under Ronald Reagan and has grown more under Donald Trump than any other president in recent history. So that's why we intertwine voting into Social Security, because who you vote for and who sits in that office will determine what your Social Security benefit looks like years from now. Those monies are pretty set up into 2035. but we want to make sure that those monies are there available to you for my children, my grandchildren, and their children. Well, thank you very much for spending some time with me with Money Matters. And to understand the importance of voting, that voting always has a dollar sign attached, and also the importance of understanding how to handle your money. And Social Security is a big way to do it. Thank you. Look forward to next week. We're going to be talking about taxation, a lot of different topics of interest in weeks to come. Have a good week. Thanks.